Ever feel like your brain is still stuck in an old emergency? If your mind is in survival mode, motivation isn't enough. One method says you must break the habit of your old self, while the other says you need to repeatedly take in the good to rewire your biology. You need a real way to move past fear without ignoring your pain. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza frames the problem as a matter of identity. If you keep thinking and feeling like the same stressed person, you keep broadcasting the same signal and recreating the same life. In contrast, Hardwiring Happiness, the new Brain Science of Contentment, Calm and Confidence by Dr. Hanson frames the problem as biology. The brain evolved to notice threats fast, remember pain well, and give bad experiences more weight than good ones. That means survival mode is not just a bad mood. It is a built-in tendency to scan for danger, overreact to it, and keep returning to it even when nothing is happening right now. So if you are anxious, easily triggered, or stuck replaying old trauma, both books agree on one thing: you are not weak. Your brain is simply doing what it was shaped to do. The answer provided in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is radical. It says your thoughts and feelings create your state of being, and your state of being helps create your reality. So instead of waiting to feel better before changing, you change first. You use intention, elevated emotion, attention, and repetition to step out of the old self and into a new one. In Dr. Joe Dispenza's logic, survival mode cannot be defeated by passively observing it forever. You must interrupt it and deliberately rehearse a different internal state until it becomes the new normal. That is a strong idea because it gives you agency. It tells you that the past does not get the final word and that your body and mind can be trained to align with a new future. But it also asks a lot from you. If you are deeply stressed or carrying old trauma, jumping straight into a high state of gratitude or confidence may feel hard, even if the idea is inspiring. Hardwiring Happiness is much gentler and more biological in its method. Dr. Hanson says the brain changes through experience, so if you repeatedly notice and absorb good experiences, you build lasting inner strength. The key move here is not a giant leap. It is the small act of staying with a positive experience long enough for it to sink in. That could be the feeling of a relaxed breath, a supportive memory, a kind look from someone, the sense of getting something done, or simply the fact that you are safe in this moment. This is powerful for a survival mode brain because it respects how hard it can be to trust calm. It does not demand that you become fearless overnight. It asks you to give your nervous system proof over and over that not everything is a threat. This is where the two books stop sounding alike. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself pushes a big identity shift. Change who you are being and your life follows. Hardwiring Happiness pushes repeated installation. Take in a positive moment, enrich it, absorb it, and let it build neural strength over time. The first book is better at creating a sense of possibility, while the second book is better at giving you something you can actually do on a bad day. If you are the kind of person who feels trapped by your own nervous system, Hardwiring Happiness may feel more usable at first. If you need a larger philosophical reset, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself gives you that. That is not a flaw in either book, it is a difference in strategy. One is a leap, and one is a build. There is a wrong way to use Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. You force yourself into fake positivity while your body is still braced for danger. That usually means you are not changing your state, you're just covering it. The right way is to use intention without denial. You do not pretend the pain is not there, but you decide that the pain is not your identity. Likewise, there is a wrong way to use Hardwiring Happiness. You notice a good thing for 1 second, then immediately move on, because your brain is trained to chase the next problem. The right way is to pause, let the good land, let it become an experience, not just a fact, and then let it sink in long enough to matter. If you are stuck in survival mode, the mistake is usually the same in both approaches: too little repetition, too little depth, and too much returning to the old familiar state. Picture this: you wake up with tight shoulders, a racing mind, and a sense that something bad is about to happen. The wrong move is to scroll, panic, and feed the fear story all morning. That keeps the brain in red mode and strengthens the same old loop. Using the framework of breaking the habit of being yourself, the right move is to stop identifying as the anxious version of yourself. You consciously choose a different internal posture and bring to mind who you want to be, how you want to feel, and what state you are practicing. Using Hardwiring Happiness, the right move is even smaller. You notice that the bed is warm, the room is quiet, and your breathing is still happening. You stay with that for several breaths and let your body register one safe moment. Now compare the results. The wrong way leaves you fragmented, reactive, and mentally crowded. While Dr. Joe Dispenza's book alone can help you aim higher, Dr. Rick Hanson's book helps you actually get traction in the body. When trauma is involved, breaking the habit of being yourself helps by breaking identification with the old self. It says the past is not the master, and that you are capable of becoming someone new. Hardwiring Happiness helps by understanding how old pain becomes stored in the brain, then slowly loosening that pattern with repeated positive experiences. That matters because trauma is not just a bad thought. It is often a whole body expectation that danger is still close. A mind like that does not usually heal through one dramatic insight alone. Because of this, the strongest approach is a hybrid. Use breaking the habit of being yourself for the vision of transformation. Use Hardwiring Happiness for the daily training that makes the transformation believable to your nervous system. That is the most rational conclusion for this niche because it respects both agency and biology. If you want a practical routine, start with the Hardwiring Happiness method. Notice one good thing. Stay with it, let it sink in, repeat. Then add the philosophy of breaking the habit of being yourself by deciding that this is not just a calming trick. This is part of becoming a different person, one who is no longer ruled by the old survival identity. For example, if you feel unsafe, do not try to solve your whole life in one sitting. First find one small signal of safety, then use that small safety signal as proof that your state can change. If you feel unworthy, do not start with a giant declaration that you are healed forever. Start with one moment of self-respect, one moment of being on your own side, and one moment of letting goodness in. That is how the two books can work together without confusing the issue. The first gives direction, the second gives retention. If the question is which book is more practical for a brain stuck in survival mode, the answer is Hardwiring Happiness. It is easier to use on an anxious day because it starts where you are and builds from there. If the question is which book is more ambitious and mind-changing, the answer is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. It asks for a larger internal break and gives a stronger sense of possibility. But if the question is which approach is best overall for this exact pain point, the most effective answer is the hybrid. You need the identity shift from breaking the habit of being yourself and the repeated installation from Hardwiring Happiness. Without the first book, the second can become soothing but too small. Without the second, the first can become inspiring but hard to embody. So the final call is this: when your brain is stuck in survival mode, do not choose between transformation and training. Use both. Break the habit of being the old fearful self, but do it by repeatedly taking in moments of safety, worth, and connection until they become real inside you. That is the most honest conclusion, the most practical conclusion, and the one that fits the pain point best. The mind changes fastest when vision and repetition work together.